Long time no see, Christopher out here. And I'm making a video to kind of catch up with you guys. It's been a while. I think my last video was a month ago, but it wasn't even really me. It was a taping of a religious ceremony. In that time, a lot of things have kind of changed. I found myself in the hospital one evening at 283 pounds in excruciating pain, believing it was a heart attack, but it turned out that it was pancreatitis related to my gallbladder, which was a complete and total mess. And on top of that, I still had the diverticulitis to deal with. Yeah, so basically my insides are not good. Well, the doctor at the emergency room elected to send me to a hospital for surgery immediately. I didn't want to, but I didn't really have a chance to say no. And a little joke with my wife is she went and asked them to drug me up so that I wouldn't protest, because at one point I was like, there's no way I'm going to go. And apparently they gave me something, and all of a sudden I was quite pliable. Anyways, I ended up in the hospital. Got admitted Monday night, and they put me on a complete fast. I wasn't even allowed to drink water. And even though I wasn't allowed to drink water, I wasn't dehydrating because they had me hooked up to an IV. And the IV was spitting morphine and fluid into my system. And that's how I remained pretty much until Thursday morning. Now let me tell you, there's nothing weirder than having to pee every 20 minutes because you're so full of fluid, and yet being just dying of thirst. And it would, I'd go into the bathroom and I'd squeeze a handful of water in my mouth, but that wasn't cutting it. It was kind of fun in the sense that anytime Diana came, I knew she had a water stashed in her purse, and every time she turned her back, I tried to get a drink. That was cute. But Thursday morning came, I believe it was, and they had decided they could do surgery on me. It was pretty awesome. I was miserable where I was, even though I had a really good roommate. Although they called it a semi-private room, I kind of think that's funny. Anyways, I went into surgery, and it took a lot longer than they thought it would. The surgeon said it was the worst gallbladder he had ever dealt with. It had begun calcifying, and it had gotten so bad. And it was loaded with stones, and they had to do some technique to get those out as well. They removed the gallbladder altogether, of course. The liver, my liver, was kind of wrapped around it, which was not a good thing. And, it was a mess. When I got out of it, though, things were better. They let me have some peaches, which, according to my wife, I declared tasted like steak. And the water like wine. And the nurse, her name by chance was Faith, which was kind of cool. So we got through that. Friday I came home, and I was told all these horror stories about how I wouldn't be able to move out of bed, and I wouldn't be able to get upstairs, and this and that, the other thing. And though it was difficult to go from a laying position to a sitting position, and a sitting position to a standing position, all three positions were fine with me. And once I was standing, I had no problem walking. In fact, I immediately started walking my dog, sneaking out the front door while my wife was in the bathroom, And I didn't walk very far. I'd just go, maybe down the street and back, but it was still enough to keep me moving. And at that point, I decided it was time to just make some basic life changes. No more beef, and no I didn't want to have any exceptions to that rule, My wife was always one to say, well, if you get extra lean hamburger meat that's 99% fat-free or whatever they have, I said, no more red meat. I'm not a huge fan of fish, but I'll do a little bit here and there. And chicken has become my main meat. But my favorite thing to eat now is truly Progresso light vegetarian soup. Vegetables themselves are the main attraction. And there's a plethora of vegetables out there that I still haven't tried, but I'm working on it. And I've tried some that I like and some I don't like, and that's okay too. I mean, when I get hungry enough, I think I'd eat almost anything as long as it wasn't going to kill me, right? That's what I learned through this endeavor. But as I said, I went in at 283 pounds. Now, it's approximately 10 weeks since the surgery, and I weighed 242 pounds this morning. That's still way overweight, way over my goal mark, which happens to be 200 pounds right now. But, you know, you lose 41 pounds and you start believing that you can change your physical life, at least. And it's true to an extent. How you treat your body affects how your body responds. And we all know that, but to live it is something that's a little different. I mean, I still have urges for beef at times, you know, when it's time to eat. I will admit I've had one junior bacon cheeseburger, which I didn't even like the bacon. It tasted funny. Followed up with one junior cheeseburger sometime later. I don't know, a couple of weeks later. And it was you know, I mean, it was Wendy's, so it wasn't as processed as McDonald's, but processed is processed. I haven't touched McDonald's since the surgery. The day before the surgery, when the pain started, I went out to McDonald's and got me a couple of steak and egg bagels and an egg McMuffin and stuffed my face that morning. I remember thinking while I was eating it, you know, this is really junk food. I mean, I loved it, but you could taste the grease and the death in it. And it was still me eating it. But no more for me. Religiously, things have been changing as well, because what I see works with the body, I know works with the soul and the spirit. And Christians, you know, we're so quick to judge the world and declare, you know, hey, you can't be this, you can't be that, you can't do this, you can't do that. But I really started taking a look at what I was participating in. And I realized that all religion is a joke. I mean, the only real religion, you know, are to take care of the widows and orphans. And I do attend a Messianic congregation in Rhode Island once in a while. But even then, I am not truly Messianic. I mean, I love the Messianics' religion, which is heavily rooted in Judaism, of course, Jewish. It's Jewish everything, with a understanding of Yeshua. Throughout the Old Testament, there's all sorts of stuff about Yeshua, but you know, basically, I'm saying I have been attending there, but even then, I understand and recognize that a lot of it is still just religion, and I understand that religion is a matter of overlooking the faults of everything and just fellowshipping. But I've come to a point where I understand that I can't go to a Sunday church. I understand that it's not going to work out for me to go hang out at the local congregation so that I can sit there and cut the pastor to pieces because of the way he's misinterpreting Scripture. Or, you know, I can protest the rituals they're partaking in because they're, you know, rooted from, you know, paganism. That doesn't do me any good. It doesn't do them any good. Now, some would say, well, you should sit there and you should argue, you should fight, you should show them the light. I don't have time for that. I mean, Jesus said, let the blind follow the blind. And really, if I follow that logic, it's good for everybody. Because for all I know, I'm blind. Yeah, see, I'm smart enough to realize that everything I believe could be all a construct in my own mind. And just as everything you believe could be. But the one thing I know, and I know that there are other people of other beliefs who will say something similar, but the one thing I know is what I know. I know that when I pray to my Lord above, the God of Abraham and Jacob and Isaac, the Father of Yeshua, the Messiah, Jesus Christ, I know that He responds. Could I be inventing the responses in my head? Who knows? I mean, obviously anybody could invent anything. They can be as crazy as they want to be. But there are things that cannot be coincidence, and things that are just too obvious, and there are things that are answered in the negative that once I go through that position, I understand why God would say no. I mean, I wanted to join a church, so I found a church. I wanted to help the church, so I helped the church. I wanted to help the pastor, so I offered to be his assistant pastor in training, even though I had already pastored 2 churches on my own, albeit them home churches. And I watched the whole thing fall apart. And it was bizarre because God made it unfold the way He did, so it could be seen exactly as I saw it. I saw the underbelly of the demon that is religion, and I watched it tear apart a congregation of people who were either blinded or unwilling to stand against the, for lack of a better word, against the Antichrist that was in their midst. Yeah, I know I mispronounced that. But the point is, it was really my last foray into the quote-unquote formal Christian religion. When I say that, I don't want you to misunderstand. I believe in the Son of God. I don't think He's really going to care if you're calling Him Jesus Christ or Yeshua or Yahshua or Yahweh, Yeshua. I'm not making fun here, but I know how people can be about the way His name is pronounced. But I remember that Jesus told the parable about the sheep, John 10. And His sheep know Him by His voice, not by His name. It's not like Shepherd Jesus could go on a vacation and some other guy named Shepherd Jesus could walk up and his sheep would follow them. It's not like that at all. No, they know Him by His voice. Well, there's so much freedom in Christ that I want to share with you guys, and I will share with you guys over the coming videos. Some of it you're going to love. Some of it's going to make you feel uncomfortable. Some of it you're not going to want to hear at all, and some of it you're not going to like. And I say that because that's how I feel about it. But the Lord's clearly showing me something, and clearly He's allowing me to share it. Whether that's shared with one of you or 1 million of you is up to Him. Because let's face it, this is YouTube. And all it takes is for someone to say one thing, one way, the right way, the wrong way, whatever way that God would have it, and it'll go viral. No. But, yeah. I mean, going viral is almost like winning the lottery. The odds are probably even worse of going viral, particularly in a format like this with a guy talking in a camera. I mean, maybe if I could catch my wife flying 30 feet in the air, or, you know, my son diving headfirst into lava and coming out of the pool of lava unharmed, something like that would go viral, but what are the odds of finding that, huh? Point is, that's me catching up with you guys for now. I've given you a little bit to know whether or not you want to stick around, whether or not you want to catch the videos to follow. If you're thinking this isn't something you want to be a part of, you can unsubscribe. I love you all, but I don't want to force anybody to sit here and listen to my stuff. But if you do want to subscribe, feel free. Drop me a note. I mean, it's still kind of busy in email, but I do try to respond to each and every one of you, and sometimes I'm a little slower than others, and truthfully, there needs to be a better system, because YouTube and Google are still messing up quite a bit. I mean, well, no, I don't know that they're messing up. It's just hard for me to follow when they make all these changes. Well, here comes the lawnmower, so I'm going to call it quits. Until next time, happy Jesus Day, God bless, and peace out.